5 years after our breakup, I suddenly got a call from Felix Liu. Stella Shen, meet me at the Civil Affairs Bureau in 5 days to get our marriage certificate. Our wedding will be held at Hill Manor. This is the century wedding I promised you. My mind went blank in an instant and shock blurted out of my mouth. Didn't we break up 5 years ago? A sneer came from the other end of the line. Break up? I never agreed to it. You suddenly came back to the country, just because you heard I'm getting married, right? Don't worry, the bride is you. As for Susu, I hope you can be magnanimous. She's been with me through the more than 1,800 days and nights you were gone. I believe you'll treat her well. I rolled my eyes and hung up the phone directly. Suddenly, several bullet comments popped up in front of me. The female lead left without a word for 5 years. Don't be fooled by Felix Liu's tough talk. His heart was practically broken. Felix Liu spread the news that he was marrying Susu, but it was all just to give the female lead a grand wedding. The second she's back, he's come running to her. Where was Felix Liu all these years? Now I have a loving husband and 2 children. Who the hell cares about his worthless self? I pressed the power button and tossed the phone, bombarded with countless text messages and calls, to the side. In the dead of night, a persistent knock on the door faintly came through. Open the door. Stella Shen, how long are you going to act willfully? The noise was truly annoying. I yanked open the villa door and Felix Liu stumbled to a halt, looking a little disheveled. His gaze was fixed on my face, then swept over my body and he sneered, "Hey, this is how you've ended up without me?" I only then noticed that the loungewear I'd casually thrown on in a hurry was my mother's. The color was a bit old-fashioned, but the material was wonderfully comfortable. I was about to speak but Felix Liu cut me off. "All right, since you know you're wrong and you're back, I'll let your childish runaway 5 years ago slide." Felix Liu's tone suddenly shifted, his smile fading slightly. "But I can't forgive you for slapping Susu that day on her behalf. We can get married now all thanks to Susu's kindness. I hope you'll apologize to her. Susu is gentle and kind. She took care of me all the days you were gone. Because of you, I can't give her a proper status, but I hope you'll treat her like your own sister and we'll give her a home together." 1,000 curses ran through my mind, but my face remained impassive. For I was no longer the little girl I used to be, and Felix Liu was not worth stirring a single emotion in me for. If I got angry, he'd only think I was jealous of Susu. "Felix Liu, what makes you think I need you and only you? Have you ever thought that 5 years is a long time, long enough for me to get married and have kids?" Felix Liu's eyes glided over my slender waist and he let out a mocking laugh. "Everyone in the circle knows you're my woman, Felix Liu. You've had a bad temper since you were a kid, willful and ignorant. Who else but me would tolerate you? Stella, your family's fortune has fallen now. Which clan would ever take you in as their matriarch? Who else but me would marry you?" Heh. I found it ridiculous and I truly couldn't hold back a laugh. Felix Liu and I had been a match made in heaven, our engagement settled since we were children. It was a family-arranged marriage but we'd loved each other deeply. He'd promised to hold a grand century wedding for me at Hill Manor after we graduated. But before we could graduate he'd killed Susu's grandmother in a street racing accident, and on her deathbed she'd entrusted Susu to his care. From then on, a little tale had been trailing after him. Susu had provoked me time and again and finally I'd snapped and slapped her. Felix Liu had pulled her into his arms, his face filled with disappointment. "You know how pitiful Susu is. She's lost her only family member and I'm her last refuge. Can't you just let her be? She's like a sister to me and you'll be her sister-in-law from now on. Can't you stop being so petty? It seems I've spoiled you too much. You need to calm down and think about this." His so-called calm down had meant ignoring me for 3 months, parading Susu around in public and showing her off as his lover every single day. Everyone knew Felix Liu had dumped me for someone new. I'd left him a message, "Let's break up." Then I'd turned and left for Paris, France to travel and clear my head. I'd never thought that one trip would lead me to meet my husband now. "You're smiling. I knew it, you still have me in your heart. Otherwise, why would you smile at me?" Felix Liu reached out to caress my face, but I leaned aside to dodge him, my smile fading in an instant. "I'm born with a smile. I'm sorry to have misled Mr. Liu." Felix Liu shook his head helplessly, a doting smile on his face. "Stella, you're still as mischievous as ever. All right, once we're married you can't dodge me anymore. I know exactly how much you love me. After 5 years of waiting, I'll give you the most perfect wedding in return. Seeing the conversation veering further and further off track, I lifted my foot and stepped hard on his toe, grinding it down firmly. Taking advantage of Felix Lu's sharp pain, I slammed the door shut and locked it in one smooth motion. Too bad I was wearing flat shoes, not high heels. Through the thick door I left him with one sentence: Felix Lu, get lost. We've been over for a long time. The bullet comments popped up again. Good news. The male lead can talk now. Bad news. Why did he have to grow such a mouth? It'd be better to poison him mute. Finally understand why the female lead ran away. Serves him right to be single for life. I even want to slap the male lead hard myself. Let the female lead shine alone, please. Felix Lu stared at the shoe print on his foot, yet a look of having seen through me crossed his face. All right, if you're shy, I won't come in today. Tomorrow I'll send someone to bring you the wedding dress. Try it on and see if it fits. Susu picked it out and it fits her perfectly. Girls all have similar taste and you don't look like you've gained weight, so it should fit you too. My upbringing wouldn't allow me to scream curses at him. I suddenly regretted refusing that person's company. Coming back to the country alone first was truly a terrible decision. I couldn't help but kick the door hard, signaling him to shut up. Felix Lu frowned. Stella Shen, you really need to fix this temper of yours. When you become the Lu family's matriarch, acting like this will make you look uncouth. You should learn a thing or two from Susu about this. My family's business had indeed been on a downward slope these past 2 years. My parents were getting old, and after handing over full control of the business to professional managers, they'd come to stay by my side to enjoy their grandchildren. That was why there was no one else in the villa but me at this moment. Otherwise, I would have had someone throw him out long ago. Felix Lu, if Susu is so good, why don't you marry her instead? I meant every word of it. I had to admit they were a perfect match. Like matches and matchboxes, they deserved each other. Just don't come bothering me. Felix Lu's laughter came from outside the door again. Stella, you're jealous again. I've said it 100 times, I only have you in my heart. I'll never return Susu's feelings. Just be good and wait to put on the wedding dress and be my bride. Listening to his footsteps fade away, a sense of powerlessness like talking to a brick wall washed over me. Well, in a few days my parents will come back to the country with the kids, and that person will come with them. Once Felix Lu sees them, he'll stop pestering me for good. At daybreak, the Lu family indeed sent someone over with the wedding dress. It was in a gift box and I didn't open it. I'd already worn a one-of-a-kind wedding dress tailored exclusively for me in this world. Who would care about a second-hand wedding dress someone else had already tried on? I took the gilded wedding invitation handed over by Felix Lu's assistant Chen Exin. Staring at the bride's side on the invitation, where the name Susu was printed, only to be crossed out and replaced with Stella Shen. I laughed and tossed the invitation back into Chen Exin's hands. Assistant Chen, I think you've got the wrong person. You'd better send the wedding dress to Miss Li instead. I'm sure she'd be over the moon to have it. Chen Exin's face changed drastically. Miss Shen, this was supposed to be Mr. Lu and Miss Li's wedding. It's only because you butted in that Mr. Lu changed his mind. And now you're putting on this fake show of innocence. I really don't understand what Mr. Lu sees in you. To hurt such a kind and wonderful young lady like Miss Li for your sake. Sure enough, bad company corrupts good morals. Stupidity is contagious. I ignored Chen Exin, who was yapping like a dog behind me, and strode away. I'd been gone for so many years, and I was dying for the private home-cooked food at Yenting restaurant. My luck must have been truly terrible lately because my car broke down halfway. I hailed a taxi and got off at the entrance of Yenting. As soon as I stepped out of the taxi, I saw Felix Lu opening his car door right in front of me. He raised an eyebrow. You returned the wedding dress I sent you, and the next minute you're following me to Yenting. Stella Shen, can you stop being so contradictory? I know you care about me, but this stalking of yours is shameful. You mind Susu's existence, but if I'd wanted to be with her, I would have been long ago. I rolled my eyes and walked past him straight for the restaurant's entrance. Felix Lu jogged a few steps and grabbed my arm. Stella Shen, stop pretending. I saw you get out of a taxi just now. Has the Shen family gone bankrupt? Are you so poor now that you can't even afford a car? It's not that I look down on you, but you're not qualified to dine at Yenting right now. If you're putting on a brave face and end up unable to pay the bill later, don't come begging me. Even though my family's business wasn't as good as it was a few years ago, it wasn't like we couldn't even afford a meal. Just because he saw me take a taxi, he thought my family was on the verge of bankruptcy? I simply couldn't understand Felix Lu's train of thought. I unclenched my tight fist and tried to keep my voice calm. I think you should eat more walnuts to nourish your brain. Felix Lu broke into a knowing smile again. You still remember I like walnuts? Fine, I'll let it slide this time. It's good you're here. I've invited my brothers today and Susu's coming too. It's the perfect chance with everyone here for you to apologize to her. Let all the past conflicts be water under the bridge. I pulled back the foot I'd already stepped into Yen Ting. No way, no way. Even the most delicious food would taste like ash in front of his face. As I turned to leave, a figure blocked my way. Sister, why do you want to leave the second you see me? Gone was Susu's former frugality. She was dressed like a wealthy young lady, and even in sky-high high heels she only just reached my height. She shot a slightly wronged look at Felix Lu, then turned back to me. Sister, are you angry about the wedding invitation? You've been gone for 5 years, and when Felix's brother suddenly said he was getting married, everyone thought I was the bride. That's why the name was printed wrong. If you're going to blame anyone, blame me. I just couldn't control my feelings. Even though it was only 5 years by your side, it's been etched into my heart forever. But since the one Felix's brother loves is you, I'm willing to give him back to you. As she spoke, a heartbroken tear slipped down Susu's cheek. Susu, don't cry. Felix Lu pulled Susu tenderly into his arms, glaring at me furiously. Stella Shen, I thought you'd changed, but you're still just as unreasonable as ever. I didn't even say a word and she's crying. I met Felix Lu's gaze, my eyes cold as ice. Felix Lu froze for a moment, his tone softening. Stella, you've lived a life of plenty since you were a child. Susu has a pitiful fate, you'll never understand how sensitive she is inside. Even if you didn't say anything, your attitude is enough to hurt her deeply. I hope you'll apologize to Susu. After all, you're the elder sister here. You need to love and care for your little sister. I curled my lips into a cold smile. Who's her sister? I'm an only child. Please stop trying to force an unwanted family bond. Besides, did I make her fate pitiful? If I remember correctly, it was you who ran over her. Shut up. Felix Lu's face fell with disappointment. Stella Shen, if you still want to marry into the Lu family, stop acting out. Felix, what's so good about Stella Shen? She left for abroad without a word 5 years ago, not a single message since. You drank yourself into a stupor over her every day. If Susu hadn't found you in time, you would have had a stomach perforation. Yeah, Felix. We all see how good Susu is to you. She's waited for you for 5 years. We all only recognize her as our sister-in-law from the bottom of our hearts. Stella Shen, if I were you, I'd be too ashamed to stand here. You're such a hypocrite. You abandoned Felix back then, and now you can't stand to see him happy with Susu, so you deliberately come here to ruin things. You're disgusting. Felix Lu's gang of fair-weather friends had seen that he and Susu hadn't entered the private room for ages, so they'd come out to look for them. Catching sight of the 3 of us in a standoff, they immediately ganged up on me. Susu huddled in Felix Lu's arms, her eyes red, that single tear still teetering on her eyelash, refusing to fall. She slipped the bracelet off her wrist and held it out to me, looking reluctant. Sister, this is the bracelet Auntie gave me. She said only the Lu family's daughter-in-law is worthy of wearing it. Today I'm returning it to its rightful owner. Felix Lu intercepted her hand and fastened the bracelet back on her wrist. My mom gave it to you, so it's yours now. No need to wrong yourself. Susu broke into a smile, her face glowing with happiness, then it froze as she heard Felix Lu say, Don't worry about Stella. I bought a top-grade glass-type jadeite and plan to have it made into a bracelet for her as compensation. My face froze too. I took a deep breath and spoke each word clearly. I'm married. I have 2 children. Silence fell all around. But Felix Lu slowly let go of Susu, stepped forward and stood in front of me. Stella Shen, stop joking around like this. Even if you're throwing a tantrum, you shouldn't tell such a big lie. I've already checked, your marital status is unmarried and there's no way you have children. Or did you run away with my child 5 years ago and give birth to a pair of twins for me? Felix Lu's brothers burst into raucous laughter, and Susu stamped her foot angrily behind his back. I pulled out my phone silently, planning to show them my two adorable little babies. Perhaps it was telepathy, a video call came through. I tapped to answer and two identical chubby white little faces appeared on the screen. "Mommy!" Two milky little voices called out at the same time, instantly drawing everyone's attention. Felix Lu's breath caught in his throat. He snatched my phone out of my hand and stared fixedly at the two little figures on the screen. They looked just over 2 years old. There was no way they could be 5. "Uncle, who are you? Can you give Mommy her phone back?" Dabao stared in confusion at the strange uncle on the other side. Felix Lu's breathing grew ragged, his hands shaking violently. "Who is your mommy?" "Mommy is just Mommy." Dabao looked perplexed. "Brother is so stupid. Mommy's name is Yu Yu." Xiaobao waved her little pink fists twice. Crash. The phone fell to the ground, the screen going black in an instant. But the bullet comments exploded. "Oh my God, what's going on? Did the male lead get cheated on? If this was a plot where she ran away with the baby, the two kids would have to be 4 or 5 years old by now. So you know what that means." Everyone stopped guessing blindly upstairs. "Did you forget this is a chasing wife crematorium story? The kids are just a plot device to hinder the male lead's chase. Maybe it's a test the female lead set for him. These two babies are so cute, like glutinous rice balls. Auntie wants to give them a kiss." My mind was only on the suddenly cut off video call. Would Dabao and Xiaobao be scared to tears? I picked up the phone and tried to turn it on repeatedly, but no matter how many times I pressed the button, the screen remained black. Staring at Felix Lu, who stood to the side lost in agony, I slapped him hard across the face. Slap. The sound was crisp and loud. Felix Lu stared at me in disbelief. "Stella Shen, you dare to hit me? For 2 bastards you actually lay a hand on me?" Slap. I slapped him again. Felix Lu grabbed my wrist, his eyes dark with an unfathomable gloom. "Are you really that incapable of being alone? The second you left me you hooked up with some random man. Tell me, who is he? How dare he touch my woman? I'll make sure he dies a miserable death." Looking at the hysterical man in front of me, I suddenly felt it was all meaningless. Belated affection is cheaper than grass, let alone this sickening so-called affection. Seeing that I wouldn't speak, Felix Lu seemed to think of something, and a look of contempt crossed his face. "Stella Shen, don't tell me you were cheated on abroad, had 2 bastards and then got abandoned?" Susu also seized the opportunity, taking Felix Lu's other hand in hers. "Sister, how could you be so disrespectful to yourself? Felix's brother waited for you painfully for 5 years, and this is how you repay him. How could you ever be worthy of Felix's brother? I thought letting you two be together would make him happy, but now it seems I won't let go." Felix Lu's buddies all chipped in to persuade him. "Felix, you can't have a woman like this, she's shameless. Marrying her would be a joke for the Lu family. Tell her to get lost. Only Susu's deep love is worthy of the century wedding Felix prepared so carefully." Felix Lu closed his eyes, his brows furrowed tightly, then relaxed them a moment later. He let go of my wrist, shoved me away, and instead took Susu's hand, interlocking his fingers with hers. "In 3 days I invite everyone to Hill Manor to attend my wedding with Susu." Susu's face flushed with excitement and she shot me a triumphant glance. As if to say, "See? You can never beat me." Felix Lu also looked at me, his eyes filled with complexity. "Stella, you were the one I was supposed to lead down the wedding aisle. But you didn't cherish it and you messed around outside. The Lu family can never accept someone like you as our matriarch. So I can't keep the promise I made back then. Even though all this is your own fault, I still can't let you go after all." He sighed, his voice tinged with bitterness. "We grew up together, childhood sweethearts. I never thought we'd end up like this. You're sure I have you in my heart and that I can't do anything to you, aren't you? Stella Shen, you have no heart. But why? Why can't I let you go?" Felix Lu murmured, his voice choking up. "Stella Shen, you're no longer worthy of being my wife, but I'm willing to keep a place for you. As long as you send those 2 bastards away, I can accept you again. Susu is understanding and magnanimous. As long as you stop causing trouble, she'll surely tolerate you." I laughed out of sheer anger. Who did he think he was, asking me to be his mistress? A flash of hatred crossed Susu's eyes, but she put on a magnanimous face and said, "Sister, this is your last chance. As long as you're willing to turn over a new leaf and serve Felix's brother with me, I'm willing to accept you and let bygones be bygones. A vein twitched on my forehead. First, I will never send my children away, and I don't want to have a single cent's worth of connection with Mr. Liu. Second, Miss Lee, stop hating me. I have no intention of fighting you for a man. Please stop calling me sister with that fake kindness. Aren't you tired of putting on this act? Third, I sincerely wish you two a long and happy marriage and may you have a lovely child soon. Felix Liu was convinced I was just putting on a brave face. He gritted his teeth and softened his tone. All right, no one stand around the door anymore. Let's go into the private room. Stella, your favorite dishes at Yenting are Buddha jumps over the wall and sweet and sour mandarin fish. I'll order both for you in a bit. Stop throwing tantrums with me, my patience has a limit. Bullet comments flitted by. I think the plot is going in a weird direction. The male lead literally can't understand a word anyone says. It's not just the male lead. The female supporting role and all the male lead's brothers can't understand a word either. I suddenly feel so sorry for the female lead. It must be so tiring for a normal person to be stuck with a bunch of crazy people. I was indeed exhausted. Fight. I could never take on all of them. But how do you communicate with people who can't understand a word you say? Call for help. My phone was broken. I turned and walked away. Susu's voice rang out, filled with secret delight. Why is sister leaving? Is she not satisfied with your arrangement, Felix's brother? She's just too ashamed to stay. Forget it, let's not care about her. Let's eat without her. I'll tell Chen Xen to pack a portion of her favorite food and send it to her later. Felix Liu's voice drifted to my ears from afar and I quickened my pace. By the time I got home the sun had already set. Chen Xian was waiting at my doorstep. As I got out of the car he set the packed lunchbox on the ground, blocking my path just right. The packing bag was printed with the words Yenting, and a rich aroma wafted from inside even through the bag. Take it away, I said coldly. Chen Xian's face was full of disdain. Miss Shen, you're only Mr. Liu's mistress now. What right do you have to go against him? I advise you to pick up the food on the ground obediently and stop making Mr. Liu unhappy. Otherwise, you won't even get this little handout. Get lost. I kicked the lunchbox flying, didn't spare him a single glance and strode straight into the villa. The next day I found a familiar gilded wedding invitation lying at the door. It must have been left by Chen Xian yesterday. Groom, Felix Liu. Bride, Susu. I pressed my hand to my forehead. Does Felix Liu really want me to attend his wedding that badly? Then so be it. Hill Manor covers nearly 10,000 mu of land, surrounded by mountains on 3 sides and facing the sea on 1. Its scenery is exquisite, like a fairyland in a painting. Once, it was my dream to hold a magical wedding right here at Hill Manor. That wish had long since come true. That man even bought Hill Manor and gave it to me as a wedding gift. It was from that day that I opened Hill Manor to host free weddings for lovers. Only one couple is allowed each month, and those destined get the chance through a lottery. After an investigation I found out that an insider had taken a bribe this time and rigged the lottery to give the chance to Felix Liu. I told the person in charge of Hill Manor to make arrangements as usual, and to make sure Felix Liu has an unforgettable wedding. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. On the wedding day I arrived at Hill Manor with my bodyguards. The wedding was held on the middle lake island inside the manor. My bodyguards had gone in ahead of time and blended into the crowd. The waiter at the entrance checked the invitation in my hand and stopped me outright. Miss Shen, this invitation of yours is custom-made. The bride specifically ordered that you wait outside and only enter the main venue after the ring exchange ceremony is complete. Was Susu trying to set rules for me? I kept walking forward without pausing. The waiter chased after me trying to grab me. Are you sure you want to grab my clothes? This haute couture dress I'm wearing is worth 3 million yuan. At the sound of the price, the waiter didn't dare stop me anymore, shrinking back to the entrance in fear. A large crowd had gathered on the entire lake island for the wedding, standing in small groups, some discussing business, others chatting and laughing. Susu had been feeling an uneasy twitch in her eyelids since early morning. Even though she told the waiters not to let me in, she kept her eyes fixed on the entrance. The second I stepped into the main venue, her gaze locked onto me. Who is that young lady? She has such an extraordinary temperament. She's absolutely stunning, more dazzling than the bride today. As everyone's eyes turned to me, ignoring that she was the protagonist of the day, Susu ground her teeth in anger and stormed up to me. How did you get in here? I retorted sarcastically. Didn't you invite me? Susu raised her voice. I clearly told them to. Why are you afraid of me being here? Could it be that if I show up, Felix Liu will give up marrying you? She was left speechless, her face turning ugly. Why would I be afraid of you? I just think you're not worthy to defile the pure wedding between Felix's brother and me. Someone throw her out. 2 security guards walked toward me. They recognized my identity at a glance, and because I'd given them advance notice, they didn't reveal who I was. But they certainly weren't going to obey Susu and throw me out. Ridiculous. Who would dare throw the boss out? Seeing them stand motionless, Susu flew into a rage. What's wrong with you two? I order you to throw her out. Immediately. At once. Otherwise, I'll make you pack your bags and leave this instant. Ms. Lee, I think you're making a mistake, one guard said. We are staff of Hill Manor and do not take orders from you. Susu's face flushed red and then turned pale in succession. Do you know the Liu Group? I am the future wife of Mr. Liu. How dare you disrespect me? I'll make you pay for this. Ms. Lee, please stop disturbing the peace. Otherwise, we have the right to reclaim the venue and blacklist the Liu Group, refusing all future cooperation. That's enough. What kind of a scene are you making in front of everyone? The commotion had drawn attention, and when Felix Liu saw Susu arguing with the manor's security, he hurried over to stop her. It seems your background will always be a weakness, you're so short-sighted. Don't you know that from today onward, every word and deed of yours represents the Liu family? I hope you can integrate into high society soon and stop bringing shame to the Liu family. Seeing that Felix Liu was truly angry, Susu tugged at his sleeve cautiously. Felix brother, I didn't mean to. It's all these security guards' fault for not obeying. Felix Liu covered her mouth, his face dark. Watch your words. Rumor has it that the power behind Hill Manor is the Pei family. Susu's face turned deathly pale in an instant. The legendary Pei family. Yes. The head of China's top aristocratic families. Now do you understand why I told you not to run your mouth? If we offend the Pei family, our little Liu Group is nothing in front of them. Listening to Felix Liu earnestly explaining the Pei family to Susu with a serious face, I couldn't help but snort out a laugh. Felix Liu turned to look at me, and in the next second his eyes filled with amazement. Stella, you look absolutely beautiful today. Susu cleared her throat lightly and he finally came to his senses. I'm getting married today. It's a pity the bride isn't you. But you will always be the most important person in my heart. You say you don't care, but I know you love me too. Otherwise, with your temper, you never would have come today. I made a pause gesture and forced a smile. If you insist on thinking that way, I can't stop you. I'm just infinitely grateful that I never married into the Liu family. I was just about to turn and leave when 2 little figures ran over like tiny rubber balls, murmuring, Mommy, Debao and Xiaobao are here. The brightest smile I'd worn in days spread across my face. I squatted down and pulled the 2 little cuties into my arms, one on each side, pressing a kiss to each of their foreheads. Debao, Xiaobao, who brought you here? Grandma. The 2 little ones chimed in together. I then saw my mom chasing after them, out of breath. You 2 little rascals, slow down. I was just about to ask why their dad hadn't come when Felix Liu spoke up. Auntie, is Stella really married? My mom probably found the whole thing ridiculous too. But she'd watched Felix Liu grow up since he was a child. He'd been a promising boy back then and she'd thought he'd make a great future son-in-law. She had no idea why he'd suddenly gone off the rails one day. After what happened 5 years ago, she'd felt terrible for me and naturally couldn't stand Felix Liu. Yes, she is, she said, her tone cold and indifferent. She'd thought Felix Liu would have the self-awareness to leave on his own. Instead, he took a step forward and in front of my mom his eyes turned red. Auntie, please stop helping Stella lie to me. Even after being apart for 5 years, Stella and I still love each other deeply. I hope you can bless us. My mom was shocked and her mind raced. Felix Liu, have you lost your mind? Today is your wedding day with that Susu girl. Why are you dragging my daughter into this? You have no shame, but we still have ours. Daydreaming in broad daylight, thinking you can make my daughter your mistress? Who dares to covet my wife? The voice was calm, yet a natural aura of authority washed over everyone present. The bullet comments suddenly exploded across the screen. Holy crap, what's happening? This is giving major big shot entrance vibes. Did you guys notice? The male lead label on Felix Liu is gone. Why has the male lead's name changed to Asher Pei? Asher Pei, my husband, strode toward us with steady steps, one after another. He reached out and pulled me into his arms, one hand gently caressing my waist, staking his claim. Who is he? Felix Liu's face changed drastically as he jumped out and demanded an answer from me. It was such an obvious answer, yet he still had to ask, unwilling to give up. I tugged lightly at Asher Pei's tie. He chuckled and bent his head down voluntarily. I stared at his thin lips so close at hand and kissed him. A flush rose to my cheeks. Once my breathing calmed, I turned to Felix Liu and introduced him. My husband, Asher Pei. Felix Liu's pupils constricted as if he'd just heard something unbearable. No. Stella, is he forcing you? You've only ever loved me, haven't you? I will get you back from him. As he spoke, scarlet hatred flared in Felix Liu's eyes, like a sharp knife stabbing toward Asher Pei. Felix Liu, you're wrong. Our fate ended 5 years ago, I said. Now there's only one person in my eyes and in my heart, and that's Asher Pei. I took a small step forward, standing in front of Asher Pei. I heard him let out a low laugh and hold me even tighter. I breathed a sigh of relief. The man behind me was an awful jealous man. If he let his thoughts wander, I'd be in for a terrible night of torment. Felix Liu froze, then roared, I don't believe you. Unless you prove it to me. Daddy, this uncle is so scary. He looks like a monster that eats little kids. Dabao clung to Asher Pei's leg, peeking out from behind him. Brother, I've told you 100 times. There are no monsters in the world. His symptoms are exactly what Dr. Wang called a mental disorder. Xiaobao tilted her little head up, pointing one tiny finger at Felix Liu's nose. Asher Pei let out a cold laugh. Is proof even necessary? Dabao and Xiaobao were the spitting image of Asher Pei, mini versions of him. Anyone with eyes could see that we were a family of 4. Seeing that Felix Liu was still fixated on me, Susu stepped close and clung to his arm, her eyes glistening with tears. Felix, brother, she's even teamed up with that man from outside to humiliate you. Are you still going to let her trample on your sincere heart? This is the first time anyone has ever called me a random man. Asher Pei said, smiling faintly. Could it be that I've been away from China for too long and no one remembers my name anymore? A sudden commotion broke out among the onlookers. My God, he's the legendary Asher Pei, the iron-fisted ruler of the Pei Group. I was lucky enough to see Mr. Pei from a distance once. That bearing, that aura, it's him. That outstanding Miss Shin is actually Mrs. Pei. They're such a perfect match. Felix Liu's face stiffened and he kept muttering, this is impossible, impossible. He stepped back repeatedly and with a crash he knocked over the 8-tiered champagne tower behind him. The glasses toppled one after another, champagne spilled all over the ground and shards of glass flew everywhere. Felix Liu was drenched from head to toe in champagne, looking utterly miserable and disheveled. You unfilial son. Do you want to destroy the Liu family? I just handed the Liu family over to you and you've already caused such a huge disaster. Hurry over here and apologize to Mr. Pei. Father Liu was practically livid with Felix Liu. In the short time he'd been away, his son had offended the great Buddha that was the Pei family. Mr. Pei, my son is blind and failed to recognize a great man. You are a man of great generosity, please spare him this once. Father Liu, who had stood straight his entire life, hunched over now, begging Asher Pei for forgiveness. Dad, don't beg him. He's a fake. Slap, Father Liu struck with all his strength, leaving a livid handprint on Felix Liu's face. You bastard. Kneel. Apologize to Mr. Pei and Mrs. Pei. Father Liu's attitude shattered Felix Liu's last illusion. His legs gave way and he fell to his knees before us, his eyes filled with humiliation, his face ashen. Mr. Pei, Mrs. Pei. I was blind and ignorant and offended you both. Please forgive me. Enough. Don't let me see you again. I spoke the words flatly, taking Asher Pei and our 2 children by the hand, ready to leave. I had originally planned to reveal my identity and humiliate them during the wedding, driving the pair out of Hill Manor. I never expected Asher Pei to return to the country early and show up here, nor that Father Liu, in fear of the Pei family, would force Felix Liu to kneel and apologize. My goal had nonetheless been achieved. Now, Felix Liu was nothing more than an insignificant clown in my eyes, and I could not have cared less about his fate. Susu threw herself into Felix Liu's arms, her face filled with heartache. Felix brother, you still have me. I'll stay with you forever always. Just turn around and I'll be right here behind you. The speakers on either side of the venue, which had been playing a piano sonata, suddenly crackled with static. In the next second, Susu's voice blared from them. Stella Shin? So what if you were born into a good family? You're still my loser. I just shed a few tears and Felix Liu believed me, leaving you to slink off abroad with your tail between your legs. That idiot Felix Liu actually thinks I'm madly in love with him. If it weren't for his family's money and my chance to marry into the Liu family, I wouldn't bother putting on this act for him. It's hilarious. He still thinks he ran over my grandma. I've had my eye on him for a long time. I told my grandma to stage a fake accident to extort money from him, and who knew I'd hit the jackpot with a sucker like him? Why swindle anyone else when I have him? Felix Liu looked as if he had been struck by lightning. He grabbed Susu's wrist, his fingernails digging deep into her flesh. Was all your gentleness, all your kindness just an act? You bitch. You've been lying to me, using me this whole time, all for money. Susu burst into tears, shaking her head frantically. It's not like that, Felix brother. This is all a trap set by Stella Shin to frame me. Have you forgotten the 5 years we spent together, every moment? My love is real. Felix Liu could bear no more of her excuses, roaring, You're still laughing at me for being a fool, aren't you? Letting a bitch like you play me for a fool. If it weren't for you stirring up trouble, Stella and I would never have had this misunderstanding. If it weren't for you, Stella would never have left me. Susu's wrist was on the verge of breaking in Felix Liu's grip. She struggled with all her might but could not break free. Provoked by the malice in Felix Liu's eyes, she dropped her pretense entirely, sneering, That's right. You're a complete idiot. If you hadn't been born into a rich family, do you think I'd even look at you? I've humored you for 5 years. Even a dog would have been moved by me by now. But you led me on, all the while still dreaming of marrying Stella Shin. Felix Liu, you're disgusting. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Felix Liu grabbed Susu by the throat, driven to madness. Susu was on the verge of suffocation. Her long fingernails scratched wildly at Felix Liu. Desperate to break free, she kicked him with all her strength in the groin. Ugh! Felix Liu crumpled in agony, his veins bulging from the pain, and hurled Susu into the pile of shards from the fallen champagne tower. Susu's exposed skin was sliced open in an instant. She writhed on the ground in agony, every movement tearing her wounds wider and deeper. At my raised hand, the security guards immediately stepped forward to restrain the enraged Felix Liu. Why stop them? A dog fight is rather entertaining, isn't it? Asher Pei squeezed my hand, leaning in to murmur in my ear. I sighed helplessly. I had already guessed that he was behind the exposure of Susu's true colors. This is where we got married. Don't dirty it. Asher Pei's expression was amused, seemingly pleased with my answer, yet he said, I just hope you're not still holding a torch for your ex-boyfriend. I laughed. Is he even worth your jealousy? Not just anyone is worthy of a place in my eyes. I knew it, my wife only has eyes for me. He dipped his head and captured my lips. My mother quickly covered the 2 children's eyes. Oh my, how embarrassing. Dabao Xiaobao, don't look, the bullet comments popped up once more. I remember the original ending. Stella Shin forgave Felix Liu and they stayed together for the rest of their lives. Felix Liu was clearly the male lead. How did he get written off like this? A scumbag like him doesn't deserve to be the male lead. Maybe the author revised the story. Asher Pei and the female lead are the perfect match. Help. My mind is stuck on that sweet kiss between the couple. Grabbing a front row seat for the steamy follow-up scenes, haha. Seconded +1. Seconded +2. Seconded +10,086. Felix Liu, bound and restrained, suddenly trembled all over as if he had seen something unimaginable. His eyes glazed over, then he seemed to latch onto a crucial piece of information, a spark of light flaring in his pupils. Haha. I'm the male lead. I'm the male lead. Felix Liu threw back his head and laughed maniacally. A surge of strength coursed through his body, breaking free of his restraints, and he charged at Asher Pei and me. The bodyguards swarmed forward, blocking Felix Lu's path. Asher Pei. I'm the chosen one, the master of this world. Get out of my way. Felix Lu's face was contorted with arrogance. He turned to me and said, Stella, come here. I can forgive you this once. I realized with a jolt Felix Lu could see the bullet comments too. Leave this to me. Asher Pei's soft smile for me vanished, his gaze turning to Felix Lu cold as ice. The two men faced off. Felix Lu, like a rabid beast, lunged at Asher Pei first. Asher Pei's expression never changed. He calmly lifted his leg and sent Felix Lu flying. Felix Lu scrambled to his feet, only for Asher Pei to kick him down again. Hit. Felix Lu lay on the ground like a dead dog, gasping for breath as Asher Pei pressed his shoe firmly into his face. The only male lead in Stella Shen's life is me. Get lost. Asher Pei lifted his foot, took a tissue to wipe his hand and tossed it onto Felix Lu's face. It dawned on me belatedly, honey, you can see them too. Shoo, Asher Pei smiled a mysterious smile, speaking in a voice only I could hear. They say they want to see the steamy scenes. I clapped a hand over his mouth, glaring at him with a silent threat. I'll deal with you at home. In the end, however, I was the one who was dealt with, pinned down and thoroughly loved by him. The next day I sat rubbing my sore waist, eating the love breakfast Asher Pei had made by hand. He casually mentioned that after we left, Susu had mocked Felix Lu as a stray dog, and the enraged Felix Lu had slashed her face with a shard of glass. In the end, the police had taken them both away. The farce had come to an end. It was not long before the Lu group was drowning in debt on the brink of bankruptcy. Father Lu, denouncing his unfilial son, disowned Felix Lu from the family. Susu sued Felix Lu for intentional harm and Felix Lu countersued Susu for fraud. The pair were both sent to prison. I looked at Asher Pei, his arm wrapped around my waist, Dabao clinging to my left leg, Xiaobao snuggled against my right. A loving husband, precious children, a warm home. For the rest of my life this was more than enough.